kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So it's a nice prayer to learn. I did learn it. I've probably forgot more prayers than you'll ever learn, but I do kind of know it. So it's a prayer. It's interesting because it's a prayer for protection, but it's for protection against our own desires, other than from enemies, although enemies as well. But our real enemies are material desires. Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4:22-39, Sanat Kumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Yat pada pankaja pada savila sabhakcha kama shayam grati tam udgratayanti santa talvan narikta matayo yatayopi ruda soto ganas tam aranam bhaja vasudevam. And the translation for that is, devotees always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet can very easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you're advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to his fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure devotional service as follows: Anyabhilasita sunyam jnana kamanya adritam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhakti uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely free from all material desires which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva, who killed Hiranyakashipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakashipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. He was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, until Lord Nrsimhadeva killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful obeisances to Nrsimhadeva, as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. So it's a prayer by Prahlad Maharaj. Om Agyanatamaranda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmat Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchikalpatruvishcha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Paritanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namaste Tejas Avya Bhava Vrajalaga Vrajalamste Kama Samrandarana Gira Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Amayam Atmani Bhushna Om Shram. So Lord Nrsimhadeva is I've just been reading actually that the reason why Jai and Vijay fell from the spiritual world in the first place was so that they could take birth as, well, the first birth anyway was Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, because the Lord wanted a good fight. And your average demon isn't really, doesn't put up a good fight. So he wanted a devotee to play the part of a demon, and then he could have a good fight with him. So he kills all, when Lord Nrsimhadeva appears, he kills all the soldiers of Hiranyakashipu, and then he kills Hiranyakashipu himself. So he has quite a good fighting session. And he's fighting all the most demoniac and powerful personalities in the universe. So they're all assembled in one place. He goes down and has a good fight. And then after that, he chills out, and Hiranyakashipu appears on his lap. There's a place actually in Ahovalam, and there's 9 forms of the Lord: Ugram, Viram, Mahavishnam, Jwalantam, Sarvatomakam, Nisingam, Bishanam, Badram, and Mrityum Mrityum Namamyam. At the end, the Lord's called off so much, he's giving benedictions, Mrityum Mrityum. He's freeing you from birth and death, the death of death personified. But when he first comes out of the pillar, he's Ugram. And that deity, there's 9 deities, and as the deities go on, then they chill out more and more. But the first one, Ugram, very difficult deity to worship because he's very, 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 very angry. And there's a place called Nrsimhapali. And we went there. Jayapataka Maharaj was there. This was the first time I ever went to Mayapur. And one of these parikrams we were on, they said, okay, this is the lake that Lord Nrsimhadeva rinsed his claws in after he'd ripped Hiranyakashipu apart. Now he was starting to chill out, you know. So all the stones around the lake all went red. And you can take one of those shilas, and the worshippers, because the stone is very angry still, the worshippers, whatever other puja that you do, you cover the shila in sandalwood paste, and you do that every day for a year. So by the end of the year, it's quite a big shila. Then you crack it open, and you take him out, and immediately you cover him again with sandalwood paste to cool him down. Anyway, the devotees there were having a bit of a laugh, as devotees do sometimes, and they were messing around and jumping in. And this one devotee jumped in, and there was a branch, but it was under the water. And as he jumped in, it hit him on the head and cut a really big thing. When he came out of the water, there was just blood coming out, you know. And all the devotees were like, and they went very reverential, and they were just like touching the water to the head. So don't mess around with Lord Nrsimhadeva, especially when he's in his Ugram feature. So we're very fortunate we have Lord Nrsimhadeva here on the altar, looking over us, keeping an eye on us, protecting us. We've been through some ups and downs. We can pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. Anyone that's trying to attack the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is considered an enemy in whatever form that may take. And Lord Nrsimhadeva is here to protect the devotees from enemies, and also to protect Srila Prabhupada's movement from anyone that is antagonistic toward it. So great day to pray for protection from Lord Nrsimhadeva. But what's interesting in the prayer, Prahlad Maharaj is praying, he's not saying, Lord Nrsimhadeva, destroy all my enemies. He's saying, destroy the enemy in my heart of demoniac desires for fruit activity, which is interesting, isn't it? So we can identify with people as our enemies, or we can identify with people as angels that have come to take birth to teach us forgiveness. Does everyone know that story of the little boy? He was about to go back to heaven, and the angel said, well, you're just about perfect, really. Is there any quality you feel you need to? And the little boy said, well, I feel like I'm a bit rusty on forgiveness. So the angel says, okay, well, you take birth one more time and I'll come down as your enemy. And so the little boy was a little startled, and he said, you'll come down as my enemy? And he said, yeah, so then you can have someone to forgive. So that's interesting, isn't it? We're praying to Lord Nrsimhadeva for protection, but we're not identifying. We give Lord Nrsimhadeva a hit list and say, well, these are the guys. Bump them off, please, for me, Lord Nrsimhadeva. But instead we're saying, well, whatever is coming my way. And Prahlad doesn't have any bad feelings toward his father. His father put him through a lot of difficulty. And Prahlad was just his well-wisher all the time. And so that's interesting that we can learn from. So he's saying Lord Nrsimhadeva is very powerful, source of all power, which is the Sanskrit for the source of all power is you know it? Randa, Vankush, source of all power. It's an interesting Sanskrit. Anno Bhagavate Nrsimha, Tejas, yeah, Tejas, because Tejas is the strength, and Tejas is the power of all power. So if you get the protection of the power of all power, and it's interesting in the translation also, it says Randya, which is to vanquish, it says it twice, and Abhayam, fearlessness. So this is what Prahlad is begging for. Help me to become fearless. Because Prahlad already was fearless. But he wanted to be more fearless than he already was. And so, yeah, as Srila Prabhupada said that they said, what do you feel like, Srila Prabhupada, when you chant Hare Krishna? And he says, I feel completely free of fear. And Prabhupada also says that that's the prime quality for the sannyasi is that he's fearless because he has full faith that the Lord will protect him. So your level of fear determines your level of faith. The more faith, the less fear. Anyway, he's asking for more fearlessness, and then appear in our hearts. So the Lord's appeared. So that's interesting as well. I mean, most of us, if Lord Nrsimhadeva appeared today, we'd be pretty much, that would be fine, I mean, it's Lord Nrsimhadeva's appearance day. He's just burst out of the column, half a column in the temple room. I'm good with that. Thank you so much, But Prahlad Maharaj is asking, it's nice you've appeared, but could you appear now in my heart? Which is interesting, eh? You'd think you've cracked it now, the Lord Nrsimhadeva's appeared. Now please appear in my heart. In fact, Bilvamangala Thakur was blind, and Krishna would come every day and have a little dialogue with him. And Bilvamangala Thakur wanted to hug Krishna, so he could hear where the voice was coming from, and he decided he was going to just jump and grab Krishna. As he went to grab him, Krishna had run off, And Bilvamangala Thakur said, you may run away from my arms, but you can never escape my heart. Nice, eh? So Prahlad's like that. He wants the Lord in his heart, so that the Lord will always be with him then. So we can pray also. I never realized, actually, I just read recently, Mahatma Prabhu was saying that we can pray to the Lord for love. Please help me to love you. So we can pray like that to Lord Nrsimhadeva. Please be in my heart. By your mercy, we may become fearless in the struggle. So that's interesting as well. Because surely when you're asking for mercy, the kind of underlying agenda is, which obviously will mean I'll get free from all the struggles, isn't it, But he's not asking for that. If the struggles are there, that's fine. But can you just please make me fearless in the struggle for existence in the material? Because can you ever really be free from struggle in the material world? It's not really possible, is it? Srila Prabhupada one time, Brahmananda Prabhu, asked him, when we render devotional service, we're supposed to be free from the influence of the three modes of material nature, but I still feel the influence. And Prabhupada said, it's like being on a ship. You're no longer touched directly by the sea water, but you still feel the waves of the ocean rocking the ship. So you're still affected by the struggle. But if you're fully aware that you're in the ship, and the ship is a safe place to be, then at least you're fearless in the struggle for existence in the material world. So the struggle is not actually the problem in the material world. The problem in the material world is the fear factor. If you can get free of the fear factor, then it doesn't matter where you are. So we should see that. We should identify that that's our real problem, that we have fear, which is due to attachment. And the less we are attached, then the less fear we experience also. So Srila Prabhupada, he quotes Sanat Kumar, which is a similar prayer. And this is Sanat Kumar speaking to Maharaj Prithu, so he's advising him to say this prayer. And again, it's protect us from these hard-knotted desires for fruitive activity, which is what causes the fear in the first place. So free me from sense gratification. And then Prabhupada goes on to say that everyone's here in this material world because they're trying to enjoy matter to its full satisfaction. And so that's why we're all here in the material world. And Rupa Goswami is saying, the door into the material world is desiring sense gratification to its fullest extent, and the door out of the material world is Anyabhalasita Sunyam, Jnanakamya Avritam, Anukulyani Krishnano, Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. So when we render our service favorably and with love, then we're going out of the material world. Unless you're completely free of all material desires caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, then you cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So that applies to chanting as well. You can't chant properly if you still have all these different desires, because chanting is the way to get free from them. But at the same time, if you're chanting and thinking, oh, maybe the glories of the holy name is my imagination, maybe this doesn't really work, and then start making an interpretation, and then starting to doubt. They all kind of link up actually, because then you start doubting the real scriptures. As soon as the chanting goes inattentive, then all the 10 offenses come in. They're all kind of interrelated, because you're disobeying the instructions of the spiritual master. Doesn't ask you to chant 16 rounds. He asks you to chant 16 good rounds, not 16 any old rounds. So there's one. So you broke that instruction. And then imagination, interpretation, then blaspheming the Vedic literatures. So many things can come in. So as soon as we fully engage in devotional service, then we become free. And then Prabhupada breaks down Hiranyakashipu as gold and soft bed. And people need huge amounts of gold. And the problem with huge amounts of gold is, if you just go up to a person in the street and say, I've decided to give you a huge amount of gold, and you give them a big sack full of gold, that's when his problems will start. Because they say whatever a poor man thinks of doing, a rich man can do. So if you make a poor man rich, then he gets himself into a lot of problems. It's even worse actually for a poor man than a rich man. If you're born rich, you can kind of deal with it a bit easier. But if you just pull somebody out of the crowd and say there's £100 million, I think it's 100 million now, isn't it, for the Euro lottery? So you go from nothing to 100 million. And then they come back to them later on and see that they've not fared well generally. So that just entangles us more. Huge amounts of gold. And the problem with a huge amount of gold is that's where Kali resides. So a huge amount of gold means there will be illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. If you want to invoke the presence of Kali, just get a huge amount of gold, and he'll be hanging around somewhere. So any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful obeisances to Lord Nrsimhadeva. So that's a good position to be in, aspiring to become free. But if you're thinking you're liberated, then you've got no more work to do, have you really? You can just put your feet up, have a Vedic cigar, and watch Krishna stories, and just laugh your head off. Better if you think you're aspiring to be free of material desires, even if you don't seem to have any. At least you're on the safe side then. Any comments or questions? Yes, Panchatattva Prabhu. This is a dramatic pause before the profound question is asked.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. It's a really nice prayer, this. I'm just wondering, because the devotee, we see Lord Nrsimhadeva, he's, particularly in his Ugra form, he's very...
Very ferocious, yeah.
And scary and things, but then the devotees have somewhat of an interesting... Of course, you see Prahlad Maharaj, he's a very sweet relationship with Lord Nrsimhadeva.
Yeah.
But then the devotees also seem to have this relationship as well. They get excited by seeing the ferocious side of the Lord. So maybe could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's nice to get excited about the ferocious form of Lord Nrsimhadeva, as long as you don't get ferocious about the ferocious form of Lord Nrsimhadeva, and decide, I think I'll try this out on someone as well, and then if someone's got a problem with Krishna consciousness, you try and get him on the lap and see if you can do something with his intestines. That's Lord Nrsimhadeva's business. Your business is to get in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj was able to have that sweet relationship with Lord Nrsimhadeva because he wasn't affected by the ferocious. He was the one that was able to placate Lord Nrsimhadeva because he understood that Lord Nrsimhadeva had appeared, and it was a manifestation of his love for Prahlad. So others were feeling threatened by that ferocious form, but Prahlad was feeling reassured by seeing that, like having your dad, and then your dad gets really angry and slaps somebody that's been annoying you, but that just makes you love your father even more. You realize, wow, my father loves me so much that he's slapped this person all over the place, ripped his intestines out. So he's not like, yeah, that's the way to do it. I've been down to do that for ages, I'm going to get into this ferocious mood as well. Here, help me. I'll help you pull them out a bit for you as well. But the devotee is in that mood of loving appreciation and appreciating that this is the Lord. Although the Lord's very, very angry, he's only angry because he loves the devotee so much. Then it's a very sweet relationship.
And as well, I'm wondering about, of course, Anyavarasita Sunyam, this free from material desires, etc. But then quite often it's like, I'm not thinking about Lord Nrsimhadeva, and then something bad's happening, I feel a bit scared. And then I go to Lord Nrsimhadeva, or I saw like you're driving along in the car, and then suddenly it feels a little bit scary or something, then people start chanting for protection. So it seems a little bit that we use Lord Nrsimhadeva as like a sort of safety measure. When things are going well, no one feels the need to so much take shelter. So is it okay?
Well, that's better. That's better than the Bhaktas at the in the van at Chaitanya College when we had some ice. All the Bhaktas would chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And we hit the ice, and everyone was like this. And then the driver goes, it's okay, we're back on dry ground. And they go, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. So it should have been the other way around, So at least if you're calling for the Lord when you're in danger, that's good. But if you just totally freak out when you're in danger, Shishikonitai Maya Pashashi Ki Jai. And of course, the real intelligent thing is to realize you're always in danger, even when you're not on the ice. You're always on the ice, actually. You could slip up at any minute in the material world. So if you can realize that, then you'll chant the holy name Kirtaniya Sada Hari. The reason why you don't chant the holy name constantly is because of pride. You think you're okay. And that's why, to get to the point of constant chanting, we have to remove pride, disrespect to others, intolerance. Yeah, pride is the antithesis of what we don't want. It's exactly the opposite of what we want in Krishna consciousness. The door opens to everything when we're humble, when there's humility. So if you're taking shelter when you're in danger, then that's still good. But it's just now gaining the knowledge to realize that you're always in danger. not just when your physical body is in danger, but the fact that your soul is in the physical body means that there's danger. Maybe even more danger, actually, because when you're in the physical body and there's some threat, then you're in less danger than when you're in the physical body and you're thinking it's great and you're feeling comfortable. Maybe you're a pop star and people asking for your autograph and you're thinking, life's not so bad, actually. You're in more danger than when you're going through the windscreen of the car, you know. Interestingly enough. That's why knowledge is very important. Knowledge will precede all the good qualities. Educato, Spanish educato means how you behave, isn't it? Educato, it's how you behave. So a real symptom of knowledge is that sadachara, it affects how you conduct yourself. Any other questions or comments? Jamba, you got half a question. Oh, you had your hand half up, so that was half a question. I think Jayananda's toying with a philosophical...
I was listening to a class this morning. Prabhupada's on Lord Nrsimhadeva's appearance day. It's really nice, and he's sort of saying, so people, they ask us, so can you see God? But you have to become qualified to see God. Like if you want to enter to the temple, you have to take off your shoes. There's some qualification. But he said the Lord is very merciful for the atheist. He comes as Lord Nrsimhadeva, you know. This is a moment where Aranyakashipu has been asking, you know, can you see God? Can you see God? And at the moment of death, that's when. So for the non-devotee, they see God in the form of death.
Yeah. They have to do a whole thing with people when they put them out, you know, for the funeral when they've died, because they generally don't look very pleasant. And they have to kind of sometimes break bones and things and readjust it and put rouge on and make them look like they were happy when they went, you know, because they're usually not looking very happy when they meet death. Like the kitten gets picked up by its mother, the cat, and it's fine in the jaws of the cat, but the mouse is petrified, you know. A lot of the time the mouse doesn't die from the cat, it dies from fright. They're so afraid. So we want to approach Lord Nrsimhadeva like kittens, very meek and humble. And we leave the ferocious stuff to Lord Nrsimhadeva. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desire should offer his respectful obeisances. So the Lord has all different aspects to his personality. Just like the ocean has many waves, God has many aspects. And his aspect of Lord Nrsimhadeva is one which is very to drive away fear and give protection for the devotee. So that's why Srila Prabhupada introduced the prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva, because he was experiencing some physical difficulties and he wasn't sure whether he would be able to stay here to continue his mission. So he asked the devotees, please pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. And this prayer was introduced for protection. So we can be proactively asking for protection, because we may not see the danger, but we can know for certain that there is danger. Yatpada, what is it? Yapada padam. Padam yadi vipadam natesham. That's padam yad vipadesham. Yeah. So yeah, there's danger at every step actually. And although we don't see the danger, which makes it even more dangerous, we proactively ask Lord Nrsimhadeva every day for protection. I have a little deity of Lord Nrsimhadeva carved in Jagannath Puri. They say from Siddhabakul, but the amount of things I've seen carved from Siddhabakul must be like about 3 miles wide. But anyway, if you approach the Lord in a very humble mood, which I've never managed yet, but then you get his protection. And Lord Nrsimhadeva is very keen to protect his devotees, actually. Keener than we are to ask for protection. He's very proactive as well. Oh, it's Seamus. He's come for class. Seamus has got a question. So today's a wonderful day. Pray for Lord Nrsimhadev's protection for whatever's coming. We don't know what's coming up in the material world, but we do know it's going to be danger. One time they were asking, Harry Case kept getting asked this question, I'm so afraid of the future. I'm just wondering what's going to happen in the future. He says, well, I can tell you what's going to happen in the future. And they said, really? You can tell me what's going to happen in the future? He said, yeah, you're going to grow old and die. That's what's going to happen in the future. So that's danger enough, isn't it? And it's not fun growing old. Just getting a taste of it now. Everything's going downhill. So you need the Lord's protection.
Here's one nice point I heard I think Govinda Maharaj making about Lord Nrsimhadev.
Yeah.
He says Lord Nrsimhadev, he takes birth from a column, as it were.
Takes birth from
a column.
From a column, yeah.
And after this, he's not able to relish the rasa of Vatsalya. He has no parents. So after this, he always endeavors, whenever I take, I have some incarnation, I'll always have parents.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that column, that stamba, is still there somewhere in India. I think it's not far from Ahovalam. And when I was given the name, one time my name was Ahovalam the singer, and we'd been over to Germany to the temple. It's an amazing temple. It's all like black marble in Germany. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so after we'd been there, I found out later on that was going to be my name because I wasn't initiated or reinitiated at that time. That time my name was Tridandi. So they said, wow, your name's Ahovalam the singer. We want to send you a Shila from Ahovalam that's from the Stamba. So they sent me a stone, just a small one, And so I thought, well, I'll just offer some incense. So I've been offering incense and flowers to him. I stopped for a little while. I'm doing it again now. And anyway, I don't know why I did it, but for one day I just decided to rub some white tilak onto him. And the face of Lord Nrsimhadev came out, and he had a tilak mark and eyes and a mouth and everything. I was like, wow. So I have him on my altar, and I worship him. So you may decide, some devotees are very attracted to Lord Nrsimhadev, and they just have all the prayers, and they have a deity of Lord Nrsimhadev. He can give prema. He's one of the few incarnations that can give prema. Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Nrsimhadev can give prema. The other avatars can't.
He's a different category to the other Leela avatars.
Yeah.
Could you explain a little bit what category?
I just heard that. And Shiv Armaj, he has an amazing. He actually has this beautiful Garuda carrier, and if the singer Sheila fits in the Garuda carrier is kind of like this, and Lord Nrsimhadev's there, and he's got a really big mouth, and he gets painted like this. And when Jadurani was painting Nrsimhadev, Srila Prabhupada was coaching her how to do it, and he goes, yeah, like this. So she would paint him like scary, So it's an interesting picture. If you see that picture, at the man, it seems to be more graphic than the picture it was copying. There's a lot of blood around. The intestines are everywhere, and vegans might find that a bit intense, But Prahlad's relishing that. How kind the Lord is, to do this for me, to protect me like this. So we have to see Lord Nrsimhadev in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj and ask for his protection. But like you say, Ben, pride causes the problem, doesn't it? Pride. It's called ahankara in Sanskrit, and it's false ego. Ahan, I, kara, it's false. Ahankara, false. The false sense of who you are, you know. Kara is like.
Away from my spiritual side of it led me well away from it.
Yeah.
It was just like I used to like work and like get these jobs that don't matter and
Yeah.
let me straight.
Yeah, ahankara has got a few aspects to it. It's broken down as I, me, and mine. So I is, we think we're the body. So we build the body up and we're going down with this body. The mine is whatever belongs to us. And then the me is my profile, how I want people to see me, you know. I'm going to have this type of job and get this amount of money and drive this car because that's me. So that's all part of your pride, your false ego.
I wanted a van to go like sort of travel. I thought it helped me with my spiritual side, but I got too fixated on it, and instead of working both, like I just neglected my spiritual side altogether.
Yeah.
And went just fixated on like material stuff. Yeah.
That's it. And it can last for years. It's not that we get distracted and then suddenly we snap out of it half an hour later. It can go on for years and years and years, you know, and then suddenly we get an epiphany again. We realize, goodness me, I've just wasted so much time. Material energy is so mesmerizing that it can take you off the path, and you can be off the path for a long time. At least if you commit to be associated with the devotees all the time, then they can say, oh, it looks like you're going off the path.
My life had to actually get destroyed to realize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like devotees around me, maybe I would realize before my life got
Yeah. Having devotee association definitely saves time. Yeah. They can fast track you, speed up the process. But you've got to be humble to take the feedback. That's the other thing, you know. You may be like, well, who's he to tell me, you know? Yeah, pride again. Pride can disconnect you from the association of the devotees.
You do it all by yourself.
Anyway, it's a bit of a bumpy road out of the material world. There's no two ways about it. But if we work on ourselves internally, then what's going on externally is reduced automatically. So there's a really nice book actually by Satchidananda Swami. And the theme of the book is that whenever he was in difficulty, the quicker he asked Krishna, what am I supposed to learn, the quicker he got free from the difficulty. So every time he ran into a problem, he started learning. As soon as he did, he just had to, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? And he said the problem would go immediately, and then he could go on and then there'd be some other problem because it'd be something else he had to learn, you know. So, and sometimes it is very confusing. Why is this going wrong? Why is this happening to me, you know? And so then you can be having like a battle with Krishna. This shouldn't be happening. This is wrong. You know, you've made a mistake. You've allowed this to take place. This is wrong. This is wrong. You've made a mistake. So there's this battle going on. And then if you can change the dialogue to, no, whatever's going on is perfect and complete. So what am I supposed to learn from this? What is it? What is this sequence of events meant to teach me? And the quicker you learn it, the quicker you can move on, you know, to the next one. And material world means, you know, this is like a school, the material world, and we're all here studying. And the lesson we're having to learn is that we need to be humble, we need to be respectful, and we need to serve. So how long is that going to take? You know, there are some people that are proactively fighting against that, and they're just all their endeavors are counterproductive. They're just increasing their problems by doing that. Just like there was a man, he was sawing a branch of a tree, and a man came past and he said, "You're going to fall off that tree." Well, he was sitting on the side of the branch. The tree was there The branch was there and he was sawing it like this. And the man said, "You're going to fall. You don't care." He said, "No, I'll be okay." And then, of course, he fell. And when he fell, he saw the man later on and he said, "Are you an astrologer or something? How could you see into the future like that, you know? Have you got mystical powers?" So it can be very obvious if you have the right knowledge. And if you don't, if you're so determined to do it your way and you can't see plainly that this is going to cause you so many problems. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. They're running around and they're thinking they're enjoying themselves and they're doing really, really well. And the devotee can see they're just sawing the branch and it's all going to come tumbling down. Nobody lives forever. Nobody can take their car with them. Somebody was just telling me actually the other day, and I was in Preston on Sankirtan. And she said, "I've just read this book and it's so good. I'm reading it again. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari." And it's about how he realized that all these goals, the vans and material things that we get, that they're actually the things that are causing the problems, you know. And then he sold everything, and then he gives some good practices in the book, how to become more detached and do some meditation every day. So we should do something like that, Krishna conscious book like that. Right? The Hare Krishna who sold his van. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at some people the other week and they were drinking in a pub, you know, and they were kind of chatting and they were relaxed and they were just like they had all the time in the world, you know, and they were just drinking. And every second that they're sitting there, it's costing them, you know. And then eventually it'll come to last orders and they'll have to pile out back into the cold and then walk home to wherever they are and then go to work the next day to earn the money to pay for it so they can do it again the week after. But it's such a waste of time. You don't go away. The only thing you go away with in the material world is memories. That's all it is. Even if you're like, Elvis Presley or anyone, whatever it is, no matter how rich or how far out you are, all you end up with are memories. And when you get old, you forget most of them anyway. So it's like having just a load of photographs, faded photographs of everything that you did in your life, and then then you start losing them as well. So you end up with nothing, you know. Jai, well, I'm not sharing out. Iskon Guruvin Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shina Singh Bhagavan Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Bol.